Hello, welcome back to the channel. In this particular video we're going to be focusing on different modeling techniques and just practicing just general modeling as well. Okay, so first of all I'm just going to go through some of the basics and recap some of the basics back in the intro to Blender. So if you do want to skip this, again skip a couple of minutes ahead, I will not take too long on this as well. Okay. So first things first, we're in our environment now, so middle mouse button to move the camera around, shift middle mouse button to pan, control middle mouse button to zoom in. Okay, left click to select and everything like that, right click to bring up some options, so on and so forth. To get into the editing mode of your object, you need to press tab, and then this will bring up other options that we can use as well. So for example, we've got vertex mode, edge mode, and a face selection mode. So each one of these will allow us to edit our object in different ways, like so. So one is vertex mode, so this will just allow us to select one point where edges are joining together, so we can just move that corner, for example. 2 is to move the edge of an object or of a face, so we can move two things around like so, and then 3 is just moving a face around like so. Okay, so that's 1, 2, and 3. Don't forget, for any of the tools that you want to use, you can hover over this, and again it'll give you the shortcut that you need. So for example, extrude region is E, left click, and then done. You can do it like so. And then for inset face, it's I. For bevel, it's going to be Control B, so bring that away. For loop cut, it is Control R, and for knife it is K, and then press enter to confirm. Okay, anyway, so in this particular video we're just going to be going through different modeling techniques, just some of the basic ones. I'm not going to go into anything too advanced in this particular video. We're mainly just going to focus on spline, curves, and beziers, and like how we can potentially use them for modeling, but then also we'll be looking into box and polygon modeling, the benefits of that, and then finally we'll be looking into isometric rooms. So let's get straight into it. So let's start off with bringing in a bezier curve. So shift A, curve, bezier, press tab, select one of them, one of the vertices, and then bring that to the center. And now let's just move some of our objects around like so. So I'm going to bring that to 0, so it's a bit more. I'm bringing that to 0 on Y. So again, I want to try and create a nice little straight curve and not creating any sort of weird geometry. So if you remember from our previous lesson, so in the introduction to Blender, we created a vase. So this is essentially, we're going to be creating a vase, but just in a different way. Okay, so what I've got here is just two beziers. I've moved it into place, so up for here I've just adjusted the y-axis so it's in line with the x, so it's all nice and straight like so. Okay, so with this all sorted, we want to press tab and right click on our bezier, because currently this is not a mesh, so we need to convert it to a mesh quickly. Now if we press tab, press A, and press 1, again you'll see that this curve has now been converted into a mesh. So now that we have this, again we can go into and use our spin tool, and we can left click and drag around to create a nice little circle like so. I have a bit of practice with this, so if you want to do this accurately, okay, this does involve a little bit of maths, so again, apologies, but if you get 360 divided by 12, that makes 30. So basically, to do this accurately, if we want to have as 12 segments, so like so, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, to make 12 segments, we want to type in 30 times, so using the asterisks, 12, enter, and that will create this more accurately, like so. And it will also merge the seam here. Okay? So now with this, so the reason why this is currently looking like this, and this, let me go with that again. The reason why mine looks like this, and you can see straight through, is because I have a setting turned on. So if I go up to this little menu over here, open that up, open up this drop down, under options we've got back face culling. So basically this is just telling me where the where does this face is currently pointing, what is making it look like a solid object, and that is using the information of normals. Don't worry, we'll get into normals a bit later in a different video, but for right now, essentially this is just telling us, okay, this is how this is the solid side, and this is where you can just see straight through. Okay, so going to need to do a couple of things first. Okay, so if I press 2, select the opposite, these two edges here, so make sure they're the opposite to each other, and do the same to this object, these two edges. Right click and bridge edge loops. So now we're creating a nice little bridge between them and filling in this gap like so. Okay, so we could put in a loop cut and then fill this in, but again, what is the point in that? Because again, looking at the flow topology, all we need to do is select this one, or this vert and that vert, right click and merge at last, and with that that will move this vert to the last selected vert. Okay, just do the same, or instead of pressing right click, you can press M for mother, and then at last, and then now that is nice clean topology that we have to work with as well. Okay, and then recapping on the final thing is the modifier tab. Okay, go into your modifier tab here, go to add modifier, go down to solidify or generate, solidify, and then bish bash bosh, you've got a nice little cup or vase, depending on how you've edited and adjusted your Bezier curve. Okay, so that's just one method of how we can create and use Bezier curves for it, but is not usually the modeling technique that we will be using. Okay, so box modeling is focusing primarily on just using basic cubes and building up a generic shape like so, to create a concept of an object. So there we are, like so. Okay, but polygon modeling is essentially building up the object or a concept of an object bit by bit. Okay, polygon by polygon, and only in certain cases where this can be used, and for example, when you're doing like more blueprints and creating characters, or vehicles, or anything like that. Again, it can be used in that particular sense, and it can be used very effectively. But most of the time, you would probably want to use box modeling to create a basic shape, all that kind of stuff like that. It just makes it a bit quicker, but this is more used for specific scenarios as well, like character modeling or um, creating vehicles and all that kind of stuff as well, and some hard surface elements. But again, we'll focus a huge amount on polygon modeling when we really start getting into and using blueprints and everything like that as well. Okay. So those are covering some of the basic modeling techniques that we will be, that you will use in the future. But at the moment, what I would like you to do before, I'll just show you how to quickly set this up. Okay. But we're going to be creating an isometric room. Okay. Okay, so to scale up your objects, your cube, select one corner at the top, press delete and delete vertices, turn off back face culling, select all of your faces. Okay, that's not working, there we are. Go into mesh, so you can go into press Alt N, or you can just go into at the very top mesh, normals, flip, and if we go back to our back face culling, now this looks like a solid object while this does not. Okay, but so what I want you to do now, using the information that you've used from the previous video and what we've just covered, I want you to try and essentially create a basic isometric room. So, and this, you can model this after your bedroom or an office or anything like that. And all I want you to do is just to model something very quickly, and don't go into a huge amount of detail, just basic shapes right now, but try not to just import and just use primitive objects to build your scene. Try to bring in objects and edit those objects for your, like, for example, a bedroom or like a bed, table, cupboard, anything like that as well. Okay. Pause the video here, give it a go, and then you'll see. Then you can press play and see a time lapse of me doing this as well. You'll see my screencast in the bottom, so you can see what I'm pressing. If you want it to go slower, just change the speed in the video. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you've created your own isometric room, and you've had a quick look through my quick little time lapse. So with this video, again, this is just showing you some of the basics of using a Bezier curve and using the spin tool to help create some of the basic meshes. But again, there's some particular use cases where it just won't simply be used. But the main thing from this video is that you're practicing your modeling, trying to use and edit your objects to create multiple different items like so, and not just relying on just objects to create your items. For example, some people I've seen is just using the one box for the main body and then using 4 separate boxes for the legs as well. It's just not needed. Okay, as you can see, if I just quickly isolate this, again, you've got one model that has been extruded and everything like that as well. Okay, so I hope you found this video helpful, and I shall catch you later. Toodaloo.